All right, pre-show shenanigans. Grant, I don't know if you saw this. All right, but this was pretty big news over the weekend.
Okay.
They have made a portal in quotations from New York City to
Oh, all
Ireland. Okay.
right. There's a lot of ways you can go with this one because I saw
Now,
some interesting things in that portal.
yes, there's been a lot of interesting things
But yeah, I
happening
am
in
interested
in
where you
in
can
that
go
in
with
that
this.
portal. But uh this should be used on game days in football, college football, any game
A portal
days.
between two fan bases, you
I
mean?
want portals at every stadium, and at this on game day, you have one fan base on one side of the portal and the other on the other side of the portal.
Now I'm
That's
thinking
what
of a
I
way to
want.
make this even better. Now we're thinking of a fan-to-fan interaction. I'm thinking of a portal to locker room interaction
I
where
don't
other
know if that
fans.
one's okay. I don't know. I don't know if you could. I don't know
I'm
if you can put
just
a portal into the locker room, Grant. That
yeah,
might end
yeah.
up with some
Okay.
problematic
Not exactly
situations.
locker room, but some area, not in the locker itself, but some backstage area where, for example, um, who's a player that gets a lot of Trey Young, for example, the portal from backstage Atlanta Hawks to New York, the fans in that series with Ice Trey, if you remember what I'm talking about,
Yes, I know.
but like that would be very detrimental to the Knicks. If Trey saw what the Knicks fans were saying about him before the game, he would then drop 60 on their head.
So
If
you're
he
saying a
saw the
one-way
portal,
portal though. You're saying a one-way portal. So Trey can
yes,
see, but the fans
yes,
can't see.
yes. I'm more looking at a motivation tool to get the players more amped up, seeing what the other fans are saying, completely
I think
unfiltered. Uh,
the other problem though is if you did this, like, let's just say this was just for like college sports. Let's just say college football specifically. If you put a portal between college
God,
kids on two
the Colorado portal would be vile, would be gruesome. Oh my God. Yeah, Shiloh would not be talking shit on Twitter anymore if that portal existed. Shador still would, but Shiloh would shut up very quickly.
I just like, oh my, it'd be so heinous. I don't think there's any audio. Like, I don't know if there's
Yeah,
audio
I
between
don't
the
know the
portals. I don't
exact
think that's the
details.
case. Because
Yeah,
most of
I
the
think
stuff
that'd
I've
be a
seen
little
is all like
expensive.
people like waving or like putting pictures up in the camera.
Yeah, people are just putting their phone up
But
to it.
that
Showing
works even
something.
better for college sports because they always have signs.
Oh, actually, 100%. Yeah,
That's even better. That's even
yeah,
better.
yeah. No, I think if there's one thing that college fans, I would. Well, actually, is it kind of an NFL stadium thing to limit? This is a big thing for
I
college football. Like, you can't really bring signs in for the
not
most part.
into the typically you can't bring anything. Well, actually,
Yeah,
for Tulane, we bring in like
depends.
big fat heads and stuff. Like a lot of our fans have like fat heads of our
I
players.
remember I once tried bringing a sign into a USC basketball game for Drew
Yep.
Peterson saying, "You just got DP'd." I was not allowed to bring that into Galen Center. Yeah, no, I feel like for the most part, WWE might be the only like big name company that
Yeah,
promotes
but the
signs, but
WWE is also like
it's its own
not.
thing.
Yeah, like that's different.
I'm
It's
not even
also
gonna
like
count. Yeah,
technically not a
yeah, like for WWE, the fan interaction is like so important to the product that it's slightly different, I'd say. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, if you
yeah.
could really just rep signs for football games, they would be bad. They would be bad. Like any AFC North matchup with signs being pushed and promoted, oh, it would be bad, be very bad. God, I'm just thinking of every single fan base, what they would be saying about the other ones. Like I don't understand the AFC North rivalry lore, but from the
Steelers
Ohio
versus
State
everybody.
Browns, yeah, Steelers
Steelers
versus
versus
everybody.
everybody.
But from the Ohio State Browns fans I've seen on Twitter, it seems like their public enemy number one is the Ravens, which I don't quite understand the beef at all. I don't just not quite read up to it. I don't quite understand, but my Browns Ohio State fans, they hate the Ravens. Could be a mix of Harbaugh in there too, but they just hate the Ravens.
Just don't put one of those portals in Philadelphia. Just don't just put
No,
don't
that
put
in
don't do that.
Boston,
Don't put
they
them there.
should not get portals. Like
They are
the New
banned.
York is pushing it. It's pushing it, putting one in New York. But if they
Yeah,
put one in
you
Philly or
do that,
Boston,
you're gonna start getting some people on the FBI's most wanted list from
Yeah,
heinous
you're
things
gonna
are
have
gonna
people
happen.
already on the FBI most watch list move up their rankings pretty quickly if that portal gets put in place. But yeah, I mean that portal, it is quite interesting. I do think though it one way it could be fun, I think, is maybe for like Olympics, like Ireland, US
Going
isn't
between
quite
the
gonna be fair.
countries.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah, I could see
maybe
that.
something from there could be fun, but overall it seems kind of just like a wide
I just think
Ireland.
that
That
it'd be
seems a
really
little random.
it'd be kind of a cool thing though for sports, like putting it outside of stadiums. You just connect the fan bases. That'd be kind of cool. Except also would be difficult for like professional sports. But
It'd be quite expensive operation. But I guess if every like big stadium just had a portal, doesn't need to be functional all the time.
no, no.
Just on game day, you can make it functional. I don't know. That could be fun. That could be fun. We'll see though. I'm not sure how many more portals they want to open up.
I don't know if they might. I don't even know how long this portal is going to be open.
Yeah,
up
this
for.
portal might not be lasting very long.
The fact that I'm surprised, out of all countries, why was Ireland the first one
exactly
to be decided on?
That is the question here.
You are risking a lot by allowing, you know, a predominantly intoxicated population at night on both cities access to those things.
Well, Everett, I think it's time to get into the sports news. Jared Goff just signed a 4-year, $212 million extension.
That's tough for Hendon Hooker. Oh boy.
Hendon Hooker is dead, but
that's a cut coming to your roster.
170 million guaranteed.
So 212. What is that? Yeah, do the intro right now while I'm doing this math.
I believe that's 53 million a year, if my math is correct.
Yep.
Wow. All right, time to get in the episode. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today is episode 221. Jared Goff just got $212 million over 4 years. The Nuggets took game 3 and 4 in Minnesota. We'll have to go over that. I'm sorry, Everett. The Atlanta Hawks have the first pick in the NBA draft, but nobody cares because the draft class is midder than mid. And Donovan Edwards is on the cover for the deluxe edition of NCAA 25. A lot to go over. Big weekend of sports. But Everett, I think we got to start it off with Jared Goff here. That's the one thing that has just pressed our mind immediately. Jared Goff has just signed a 4-year, $212 million extension with $170 million guarantee. Just first glance, we don't know the details. That pretty much seems like it's a 3-year deal. 4th year is their slight opt out, I guess.
I'm also just curious of that deal. I don't know when his current deal ends, so I don't know if that's like an immediate extension or it's a tack on.
I think it's after this season it goes into effect.
So
could be, I don't know that exactly. But this Goff, that first contract he signed was what, 160 over 4?
Something like that. I don't know.
Him and Wentz signed mega deals like in 2016, 17, 18, around that time.
Well, they got drafted in like 2016.
Yeah, but they both, I forget the year. I want to say it was 18.
It would have had to been like 18, 19.
I'm just really confused how Carson Wentz got that extension because that was post Super Bowl with Nick
Foles,
and they were just like, "Yep, give Carson 100 whatever."
It was also though that was like his MVP.
Jalen Hurts.
That was his MVP-ish year though, and then they probably were building off that. I honestly can't really remember Carson Wentz's extension though.
I'm just gonna look it up real quick. How much he got because it was big. I remember it was
4-year extension through the 20. Wait, yeah. So he signed it in 2020, 128 through 2024. So technically, by the way, he should still be on contract right now.
Yep. Hey, good for Carson though. 67 million guaranteed at signing.
Hey,
so he's
negotiations. Great negotiator. Fantastic negotiator.
Yeah, I would say, ironically, looking just back at that Rams-Lions trade, that was a win-win. That was a win-win. The Rams got a Super Bowl, so that's a win on their end. No more conversation on their side. And look at what Jared Goff has done with the Lions. That's one of the few examples we see of a blockbuster win-win trade in the NFL. We don't see those very often, but that was a win-win.
The Stephon Diggs trade as a win-win, or is it a lose for the Bills?
I would say overall win-win. Overall. Obviously, Bills didn't win a Super Bowl with it, but like for what they needed at the time, like Stephon Diggs was critical for Josh Allen becoming top quarterback in the NFL right now. So I would say yes. Obviously, not what they wanted to do with it, but yes.
No, definitely not what they wanted to have happen. Although they just did it again.
It's very rare you see win-wins. Very rare.
The Bills tend to shoot themselves in the foot. But
yeah, no. I would say for the most part, it wasn't necessarily Stephon Diggs was the reason they get bounced and all that shit. Like, I mean, I'll never forget the 2022 AFC Championship.
You're standing after it. Is that the one he was
Kansas City had how much time on the clock to score?
Oh, it was like 20 seconds.
I mean, for after that one, it's like, all right, like I'm not gonna blame Diggs for that one. Like that was just rolled. That was just the power of Mahomes and Buffalo Bills Mafia. They had to learn it the hard way. Like I've learned for the past shit. How long has Mahomes been starter? 5, 6 years now? 6 years? 7?
8.
8?
No. It's like 6 years. He was driving like 2018.
7.
6.
Yeah,
I think this is
the nightmare only goes on. But yeah, NFL. Yeah, shout out Jared Goff.
I mean, all right, I got some more stuff. We're just on the NFL. We're just on the NFL. We're gonna stay on the NFL. Grant, we're gonna play a little game today. We're gonna play a little game.
I like games.
I know you like games.
Love games.
So I saw a post from the Chargers the other day. It's a video of Joe Alt practicing in practice, right? Okay. That made me start to think. I was thinking, Joe Alt sounds like
nicknames with him, or wherever.
Joe Alt sounds like the name of a tackle that would make the Hall of Fame. Just the by name, like the name sounds like the name of a guy that would be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay, all right.
So this is my question.
Where this is going, but I feel like there's a twist.
Which rookies have the most Hall of
NFL
Fame
Hall of Fame names?
Like Joe Alt is the name of somebody I would be like, I can see that guy being in the Hall of Fame. Like that name makes sense for a Hall of Fame guy.
All right, Joe. Yeah, okay, Joe Alt. I'm with that. I would say because it's unfair, but Marv because of his dad. But if you take his dad out of it, then no.
Like I think Brandon Rice and Marvin Harrison Jr. You have to discount those. And so with Frank
let's just first think about quarterbacks. Caleb Williams. Do we think Hall of Fame when we hear the name Caleb Williams? No.
I don't think it really rings of a Hall of Fame.
No, we do not.
Hall of Fame.
Jaden Daniels. Do we think Hall of Fame with that name? I'm not really sure.
I don't think so.
Drake May. Do we think that? No, not really. I like it better than the other two options.
I do like it. It's like technically the best option.
Drake May, I like it, but not quite Hall of Fame.
Michael Penix.
Auto out. The fact that the Falcons team graphic posted Michael Penis on there. Yeah, no. He's out. He's auto out.
JJ McCarthy.
I struggle with the JJ.
Yeah, the JJ
if he went by
tough.
Joseph that'd be worse. If he went by Joseph McCarthy, that'd be so much worse. Okay, JJ is his best option, but no, I don't quite see
Strangely enough.
Now, I'll be honest, Dallas Turner, that sounds like a Hall of Fame name.
That does sound like a Hall of Fame name.
Dallas Turner sounds like a Hall of Fame name.
It got the same kind of ring to it as a Michael Parsons fight. Like that's kind of the
Dallas
similar.
Turner, that rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it works.
You can see Dallas Turner.
I'm gonna be honest though.
Threat in the NFL one day.
I could see a Bo Nix. A Bo Nix kind of like it has the role. It does have a role.
Okay, I was thinking just in terms of name, Bo Nix, but also, is it too short?
But that might
it's a 5-letter name. It's a 5-letter name.
Kind of why it works.
Okay.
Michael Pratt obviously is a Hall of Fame.
I love that.
I do love that.
Michael, I just feel like the slight sophistication with the Michael, the Pratt is way better than Penix. Michael Pratt, 1-syllable last name, boom.
All right, let's get into the running backs. Let's do the running backs. All right. Jonathan, I have the list pulled up. So
Jonathan. Okay, now I'm quite biased. I'm thinking of Jonathan Stewart, but the Jonathan Brooks doesn't quite get me. If that makes sense. But it is
the sophisticated
Trey
first
Benson
name.
Doesn't really get me Hall of Fame either, but Trey Benson as a name.
No.
Yeah, I could see him being a contributor for a couple multiple years.
You know which name I do think feels Hall of Fame-y?
Who?
Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright feels kind of like a Hall of Fame name.
Jalen Wright. Okay. You can sell me on this one. I'll give you an opportunity. I think
Braylon Allen really sounds like a Hall of Fame name.
Braylon Allen's a great name.
That's
really
a great
like
name.
Now I'm trying to strip my biases here, but Kamani Vidal is sounds like a pretty electric name.
That would be the name I would think of.
Electric.
Yes, but I would expect them to be a linebacker. That's
Ooh,
the difficult issue.
Fair.
That's the difficult issue.
Do they even have the correct position? That's a whole nother debate.
Now, okay, wide receivers. A lot of these guys are not going to go through them. But
Malik Neighbors is pretty good.
No.
I think it's pretty good. I like that one.
I don't know if it is for the sole fact that he is also on the Giants, though.
Romo Dunze is very good. That's a great name.
I will give Romo Dunze.
Good name. Good name right there. I could say confidently the worst name is Troy Franklin out of all the wide receivers. That gives the least amount of confidence for me.
Luke McCaffrey might be it's the same family thing.
It's
family thing.
We can't strip that away. We're immediately thinking McCaffrey. So that
Jamari Thrash. What a name.
What a name, Everett.
What a name.
I love Jamari Thrash and Javon Baker. Baker's a great name. Baker, I think Baker's a great name, but Javon Baker, does he play the right position, Everett?
Bub means?
If this was seems more memey than Hall of Fame.
If it's Bub means, if this was the 1960s, Hall of Fame.
I kind of want now Bub or Bud. Bub.
B-U-B. Bub.
Ooh, that's a running back. That's a running back
though. He's a wide receiver though.
I know, but so wrong position. Bub. That's such a run. If he played running back, he jumps up the draft.
Okay, what about Ainias Smith? Ainias Smith. A-I-N.
I actually think he does move up. The first name's so sick, despite Smith being so plain, like that he still moves up. He could be another Smitty. He might,
Okay, fair.
warrant that nickname, kind of like Devontae Smith.
Jalen McMillan?
No.
Okay.
Jalen Polk, better, but seems like
still not great.
Basketball player.
It does.
Jalen Polk, that sounds like a point guard.
Brock Bowers, phenomenal.
Excellent. Excellent. Just the alliteration, the Brock, the BB. Oh, yeah. He moves up the rankings.
Eric All? I would say like the next best one is probably Tip Raymond, except that would be have to be like the 70s or 80s for that to be like certified.
But I love that. Any like nickname for a first name? Like, okay, Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid.
Yeah, that yes. That
but is it necessarily Hall of Fame or is it a little memey? You tell me.
No. I think it's Hall of Fame. Kool-Aid as your nickname. Yeah.
Okay.
Now this is really the big part of it. All right. The biggest player names that work for this are offensive linemen. So
but it's weird because you want it to be as plain as it can possibly be for an offensive lineman.
Here's the borderline. Here's borderline. But here's the thing.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt
I will. But here's the thing. Joe Alt works perfectly, but Jordan Morgan doesn't work. It doesn't work, even though it's playing.
Last name Morgan just will never fly.
Even a PP like Patrick Paul doesn't really work.
No, that's a basketball player. That sounds like a stretch 4. Patrick Paul. Yeah.
Blake Fisher. Now I have Eric Fisher on my head. Now it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like biases are creeping in here.
Roger Rosengarten. That's a backup name. That's not the name of the starter.
That sounds like a basketball point guard who just gives you 20 off the bench.
Delmar Glaze.
That's what that sounds like.
This is a Delmar Glaze.
Certified. He's in the league. League him.
Dominic Puni. Puni.
Now, if he plays it could be a funny way where his name's Puny, but he's like a 6'6", 280-pound DN. Then it works. If that makes sense. If he's a 5'9", 180-pound running back, then it doesn't work.
Okay, fair. I do think there's a tendency to have bias towards Samoan players that are linemen. If you see a Samoan name on the line, you immediately
Yes,
like pencil him in. Pencil him in.
that's why I thought Tui Pelote was going to be an animal. Only reason why.
Satoa Lumea,
I
Seahawks
don't
guy.
quite get the same effect from that one. Not gonna lie. Like Lavu out of UCLA, I get that. I feel the power in that last name. Lavu. Oh
Jackson
yeah,
Powers Johnson.
yeah, certified. Are you kidding me? Like one
Zach
of the few
Frazier.
examples
Oh
of a
no, no.
hyphenated
You
name
you
being
want
certified.
do you want a hyphenated name that is certified? Cedric Von Prong Granger. Sorry,
There is the
Granger.
hyphen.
Cedric Vaughn,
And
Prawn
then
Granger,
hyphen.
Prawn hyphen Granger. But it's
Okay, so
Vaughn,
Von Prawn hyphen Granger. Now
but the
that I
whole
can get
last name is Vaughn Prawn Granger.
and the hyphens between Prawn and Granger.
Yes,
Yeah, that one's a little certified. And there's also a space between the Vaughn and the Prawn. Correct?
yes.
Oh yeah, certified. Certified. Are you kidding me? That also is just a sick jersey because the Vaughn will be lowercase. And I'm trying to think. How did they exactly do a Vaughn on jerseys? Because in theory, the whole thing is capitalized. Like if it's a
They
I
just
don't
make
know
the
why
font
I'm
size
thinking
smaller. I
Lynch,
feel
they
like
just
they
make
just
the
make
C small for like a
yeah, they just
Muslim.
make this. They just make the letter smaller.
I'll need to look because I'm thinking of like Van Persie on the Netherlands team. They just kept the Van all capitalized. So we'll
Now, I will
see.
be honest.
We'll see what they do there. But
Junior
that's a little
Colson is the name of a
I was
linebacker
gonna
I would
say. I was
expect
gonna
to
say
see in the
that's a
Hall
pretty
of
good
Fame.
name. It's a pretty
That
good
might be
name.
because of Junior Seau, but
I
some
just
wiggle room.
I will also say Junior Colson just because I've been watching him play for so long. I can't like I immediately see his face when I say the name and it all adds up. Like just how he looks like an NFL linebacker who's a stud. And so I'm a little bit biased here. Just like you literally look at me, you're like, yep, linebacker, 100%. Like, yep. Uh, Lad McConkey. Does that strike much confidence in you, Everett?
I don't know if that's I like the name, but I don't know if that's a Hall of Fame name.
I'll be honest. If I did not know Lad McConkey, if I did not follow college football, I would not be hyped on that pick. Like I'd be like, oh God, what did we just do? We just took a white Georgia wide receiver. What are we doing?
Okay, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, no, it
There's
doesn't
a
strike
lot.
fear into
There's a
my
lot of things at play with Cooper DeJean
Carry
right
on
now.
Arnold. That's a corner right there. That's a corner right there.
Kamari Lassiter.
Mm-hmm. He also just found out today that D'Amico Ryans played at Alabama.
Did see that.
Hilarious clip.
I did see that.
I'll be honest, I do love when you see a quick little clip of someone, shit talking their player because of where they went. How like Mike McDaniels for Tua, he'd be like, Georgia's the best team in the SEC, like on the sidelines before the games. You remember that clip?
I did. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Like that I find funny. Like as an Ohio State fan, it was kind of like a yearly tradition to see Tom Brady take a picture with the other Ohio State players doing the OHIO and Ohio State gear. Like I love that shit. Don't see that anymore. But yeah, I do like bringing the college beefs over to the NFL. I love that.
Here's just moving along a little bit. Grant.
Yes.
This is the first time since 2015 that the Vikings have had the same head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator for consecutive years.
Oh, wow.
So between this year and 2015, at least one of those or multiple of those has been changed per year. Almost 10 years. It's been 9 years since they've had stability there. So, and people wonder why we don't make the playoffs back. Like typically we've always had like a year on, year off for the playoffs and for making the playoffs and missing the playoffs. So this kind of feel like this kind of makes more sense as to why we haven't been back to back since like 2008, 2009.
That's true. I can also respect your franchise though for realizing like, oh shit, we need a new guy here rather than prolong this problem, have him stay. Let's fucking fix it.
Well,
unlike the Chargers with Tom Telesco.
It's that,
and
but
Brandon Staley.
It's that we don't really fire head coaches that often though. It's that, but it's mainly like other people hire like our coordinators
Yeah, no,
or
wrong hires,
Mike
missed
Mike
hires,
Zimmer
but at
Mike
least he
Zimmer
recognized the problem.
Mike
I
Zimmer
will give
had
you
a
credit there.
tendency to fire offensive coordinators very often. Um, and I thought we were going the opposite direction when Kevin O'Connell fired Ed Donatel, and I was like, thank God. But uh, thankfully,
Yeah, I'm
that's
not gonna
not the
lie.
case.
I just got NFL Live up right now. They're showing some clips of JJ going through some progressions right now. Of course, they open it up with that one where he's throwing to his coach and
Oh,
he
it was the
misses him.
duck. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I will just be honest though, like we all know that's going to be a project there. I mean, no one's actually expecting him to go in week 1 and start. Like you ask anybody, no one's expecting him to go in and dominate week 1. Like that is a slight project to build up, but he's in the perfect position to build up and to find that success. So, I mean, I also just don't give a shit about training camp videos. Who cares? Like who cares at all? Like I could pull up a clip of Quentin Johnson mossing someone. I still know he sucks. That's not going to change my opinion if I see that clip. Uh, I will be honest though, if I do see a clip of him dropping an atrocious pass, that yeah, that would terrify me. So you know what? You're right. It kind of goes both ways. More so, if you see bad, you do get concerned. If you see good, doesn't really change my opinion at all. But I will just say though, just playing this game, it is great seeing just one clip of Xavier Worthy just drop a pass and every Chargers fan just like, Xavier Worthy's just QJ with a 4.1940. It's like, that's a big difference, guys. Despite if he, quote, is QJ catching, there's still a big difference there with a 40 time, everybody. But yeah, that'll be interesting to go over. I do think, though, it seems like KOC is definitely the guy in Minnesota, 100%.
I mean, I hope
For the
so.
most
I would
part, I
hope
have
so.
not. There was maybe a stretch last year where you were getting a little like maybe you should give up play calling or something. I forget what,
I
but for
still,
the
I
most
still,
part, you haven't really had any crazy. Oh shit, this guy's ass. Get him out of
I
Minnesota
mean,
takes.
I still, don't think that he should like. It's different when you have a rookie quarterback. But there's a substantial amount of time where like he was trying to force some of our guys to play in ways they weren't supposed to be and they're not meant to be. Um, and because of that, like I was just like, hey, like why don't we let an offensive coordinator take over this and you do the management part of the games? Because there's a lot of times where we take our foot off the gas and his play
Yeah.
calling would be much more like kind of passive than like you would want to see.
Oh
And I
yeah.
think it's because he was trying to micromanage. But you don't really know how this next year is going to go. So we'll see. And there's a decent chance we're going to be in the same boat, but it's a little bit different when you're trying to build up a rookie quarterback. Um,
Yeah, I would say I agree with you for most scenarios. Yeah, I prefer my head coach not be as hands on. I'm just thinking of like Ryan Day right now. And when I see that happening, people will literally point to the Chiefs' Andy Reid, and it's just like, well, Andy Reid like has his DC Spags, like he has full confidence in Spags to run that whole operation. Where it's not every offensive line
well,
coach has that.
it's not even
Where
just
Ryan
that.
Day
Like
does.
like
Jim Knowles,
Kevin
he can
O'Connell
hand that shit over, but he still wants to go to the head coach role.
Kevin O'Connell has that with Brian Flores, but the problem, like the comparison with Andy Reid is Andy Reid does the
He's
offensive
also
play
just
calls,
so goaded.
but Andy Reid does the offensive play calls, like,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
does it like like still
He's
does it
goaded.
well. Yeah,
Very good at
so
it.
that's the comparison. It's the comparison. So
Yeah, I still definitely think like I'm talking from like Ryan Day perspective. What is the biggest impact he could have on an in-game basis? It is his play calling. That is true. But still, despite that, having Knowles in place, like like Chip Kelly is going to be calling this offense next year. And it's like, hey, we'll see how this ends up working out. I could see though a point where Ryan's just like, I'm back. I'm back play calling. I could so see that happening after like the Oregon game. We'll see. Week 6, we go to Eugene, Oregon, which I'll be honest, Oregon fans, open up your ears. I am nervous, very nervous about that game. That is not an easy game going to Eugene. So we'll see. Like after that game, that could be you see Ryan Day pull a full 180. He's like, nope, back. OC Ryan is back, baby. I think that's where I'll know whether or not he feels fully confident in
All right.
his former coach, Chip Kelly.
Talking about college football.
This could actually be a slight transition.
I have
Antoine Winfield Jr. is now highest paid DB.
Yeah, that works.
As an Ohio State fan, the only thing I think about every time I hear the name Antoine Winfield Jr. is Antoine Winfield Sr. And how he was an All-American at Ohio State. Thorpe winner, went onto your team, made a lot of Pro Bowls there. I also looked up. He's in the all-time top 50 greatest Vikings ever list. So Antoine Winfield Sr. is on that list. I can't help but remember Ohio State did not even extend an offer to Antoine Winfield Jr. because he was undersized out of high school.
That makes two of us because the Vikings opted to not draft him as well. Instead, we took, I believe, Jeff Gladney, rest in peace. But yeah, we needed safety helps that year. I think we had Anthony Harris maybe coming off like a somewhat decent season, and they just decided to
Harrison Smith still there.
Still here, yeah.
Had to have been at the time, yeah.
He's been there his whole career. I don't really know where you were going with that, but
I was just thinking other safeties. Maybe they're like, yeah, Harrison Smith's back there. We could chill and kind of cheap out on the other safety. I don't know.
No, but that does make two of us. Other thing though, Grant, we were talking about quarterbacks a second ago. All right,
talking college quarterbacks now.
College / NFL, but predominantly college. Okay. Lincoln Riley's starting quarterbacks by season, okay? It's amazing to see now. The question mark was on Spencer Rattler. But to see now where everybody is and how everybody has looked kind of in the draft process, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Spencer Rattler and Williams, Caleb Williams, question mark for next year. Every single one of these other guys have been drafted, been one of the first quarterbacks off the board for their drafts, and have done well in the NFL to this point. We'll see what happens with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams, but they've been drafted to become the heir apparent to their teams. All of them.
Yeah. The Jalen Hurts one's the craziest example. But yeah, go on.
Now, that takes us to the question mark for this next season, Grant, where
is this a Spencer Rattler question or a Miller Moss question?
The expectation is Miller Moss is going to be the starter for USC. So obviously, if you guys are longtime listeners, longtime watchers, you know that we have a forgotten episode with Miller Moss
in the dungeons. It's in the vault.
But we have an episode with him.
Away.
So my question,
double locked, but yeah.
My question is, how high, are the expectations for Miller this season, knowing this is the pedigree, knowing that this is going to be his first time starting and maybe last time starting in college, and that next year's draft class is not really fantastic as of right now? Like, could Miller be one of those guys?
Two answers.
Could Miller be one of the guys where you look at right now and he's not really on anybody's board, but then it's happened multiple times, like Jaden Daniels last year, and season goes on.
I think 100%. I think 100% it could happen. Just real quickly, just looking at the past players to go number one in the draft, specifically looking at quarterback, you just need one good season. Going back to Kyler, he had one season when the Heisman went number one overall. A couple years before, Baker, he was number one overall, won the Heisman, but he had like 3 years of success. That was the first Lincoln Riley guy, slightly different. Like my next example after Kyler is Burrow. Okay, going into that 2019 LSU season, Burrow was projected to go undrafted. LSU had zero expectations of anything. Obviously, we know what happened there. They had the greatest offense in college football history, but once again, just one season, number one pick. Moving a little bit down the line, I guess you could say, yeah, T-Law had 3 excellent seasons, so he doesn't count. The year after T-Law, who went number one?
The number one overall pick was a defensive player, I believe.
Trayvon Walker year. Okay. Who do you remember the first quarterback that year? Trayvon Walker's year? Who I don't exactly remember. Not gonna
lie. Trevor Lawrence's was him, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields. And the next year, They would have
I
just
don't remember the
signed their
Trayvon Walker year.
extensions. Um, was that? I was gonna say, was that Herbert? It's not. Was it Tua?
Herbert was like 2018-19.
Oh, fuck. Hold on. Now I gotta solve this.
I don't know who was 2021 first quarterback. Anyway, the point is you just need one good season. Jaden Daniels, that's the example from last year. You just need one good season, and then boom, you're
Would have
going
been
top three.
2022 first quarterback. Oh, that was a really, really bad year.
Yeah,
That was the
throw that out.
Desmond
Throw that
Ritter.
one out. Throw that one out. Yeah, okay, throw that one out. But for the most part, you just need one good season to
Oh,
go number
Kenny
one.
Pickett. Kenny Pickett was the first season.
All right, exactly. Even better point. Okay, so but Kyler, Burrow, Jaden Daniels, them three, they just had one good season, and then they went either number one or number two. Now when it comes to Miller, I think if there's any situation where somebody could sit and be a starter at another Power 5 school, but choose not to and stay, is if you have a Lincoln Riley. He's the only scenario where I think it's okay. And it's arguably in his best interest, long term, thinking NFL wise, to stay with him and become his quarterback because he's now done it with Kyler. He did it with Jalen Hurts, even though Jalen Hurts doesn't really count. He like performed much better at Oklahoma, but Kyler is kind of the main example in Burrow that I look at, and Jane Daniels to a degree, where it's you just need one good season. Now it has to be an excellent season, okay? But I think Miller's in a position to do it because the current expectations for USC are not very great. Right now, see a lot more USC, Oregon, Washington fans, not UCLA. They know they suck, but them three, they're kind of getting more involved in Big Ten beef. Quick side note, I absolutely despise all UCLA people. They are just the most, oh my God, like tortured mentally individuals just in terms of how high their expectations are for their program, thinking like, oh, yeah, Chip Kelly like killed UCLA, yada, yada. It's like, okay, you can say that, your own things, but I mean, my God, UCLA, you guys are just so unbelievably irrelevant when it comes to college football. Like, get out of my mentions. But back to the other three, I'm seeing a lot of Michigan fans too doing their quarterback rankings heading into next season. And I'm actually kind of surprised that for the most part, most people are like floating between Miller Moss and Will Howard at like who's above who. Now, in my opinion, it should be without question Miller Moss over Will Howard. Will Howard was going to go to USC until Miller had his performance in the Holiday Bowl. Then not exactly Lincoln Riley, Will Howard now focused to Ohio State, being like, oh, not winning that battle. Yeah, Miller Moss has that one locked up, not going there. So just based off that recruiting story, I don't know how you put Will Howard ahead of Miller Moss. And now I'm double biased here. So,
that's true, but you also have a very good point, to be fair.
Yeah.
That is a very good point.
Yeah, like that's one thing where I look at where it's just like I don't know how anyone can, like, if you're an Ohio State fan, sure, you just don't know who Miller Moss is. 99.9% of people in college football have no idea who Miller Moss is. Whenever I see those Big Ten quarterback rankings posted, everyone is like, "Who the hell is Moss? Like, what? Who is that?" And I think because of that situation, he does have the chance to really, really show the world what he could do. If they go neutral site in Vegas week 1 against LSU, and keep in mind LSU's defense is not. If Miller puts on a show, then he will put himself on the map. That's going to be one of the biggest games of his career. What he does against LSU in Vegas in the Death
Star. I do think that he's probably already on some radars because of the bowl game last year.
I think he could potentially just be a little speck. Like, okay, watch this, monitor it. But as of today, no one is going to project him to be a draft pick. At least I haven't seen it.
Well, he also doesn't even need to go for the draft. He didn't want to. But this year's quarterback class is so contingently like worse than
it's a great year to go out.
Yeah.
Great year to go out for him. Like, yeah, he could be a name that we see make a really, really late rise, get his way up there. And I definitely think that's very, very possible. But just going back to the thought of like, who is the best quarterback developer? Who has the best recruiting pitch in all of college football? Lincoln Riley. 3 first-round picks, 3 former Heisman winners. All 3, well, not Caleb yet, but Jalen Hurts got $250 million. Kyler got 200 something, and then Baker got 100. So he's got 3 guys with 9-figure contracts in the NFL. How do you beat that?
3 number 1 overall picks
and Heisman winners that win number 1. Like he's the undisputed GOAT. If there's one man where you feel confident, I just need 1 year starting so I can go pull a Kyler, Burrow, or Jane Daniels, it's for Lincoln Riley. That's the one man where you can confidently be like, actually, for my long-term success, I do think I'm better off waiting 3 years, 1 year as USC starter, than becoming the Wisconsin starter for 3 years and sucking. Like, I think it's in his best interest staying at SC.
I mean, could be worse places to stay. So,
yeah, no, it's all because of Lincoln Riley. Like, his track record is, I don't like, if you're the number 1 quarterback recruit and Lincoln Riley wants you, I don't know how you say no. Like, I do not know how you say no at this point. He has shown player after player.
Keep in mind,
I put
with
out
Kyler
dogs.
too, he had to develop Kyler so well that Kyler opted to play football over baseball.
Yeah, and remember, he went number 10 in the MLB draft. I know people are like, "Oh, you don't pick a player in the first round unless you expect them to come." Like the A's really expected Kyler Murray to come, and that was a Billy Bean pick.
It would have also been the A's
Think about
to do that too.
Yeah, no, it is the A's though. That's a whole.
I will say the one thing though with the A's, the A's tend to find talent. They just don't retain talent.
Billy Bean's excellent. That's like, there was an interview with Matt Olson, now on the Braves, who just came from their minor league program, the Oakland A's. Yep. He literally said in an interview that being a Billy Bean drafted player like did boost his ego and mean a lot to him, being like, oh, if Billy believes in me, then I must be pretty good. Like, that's like a stamp of approval in the MLB. It's like, oh, you were a Billy Bean prospect. That's how you got found.
Oh,
yep. Certified.
Good.
So like that is a name thing. But yeah, no, just based on Lincoln, his success, it's like, yes, I think Miller 100% made the right decision staying. I could be incorrect, but I think he does have another year of eligibility after this. And he could still do a Joe Burrow. Even if this year doesn't go great, he could do great next year. This year, USC schedule is really, really hard. Like the odds are against him of succeeding. They are not in his favor. I'm not entirely sure what USC schedule next season is, but
I mean, I'll look.
It's not going to be easy this year. USC schedule this year is tough.
Let's see if I can find it. I just I don't know who USC has wide receiver wise right now, and
they don't.
Offense,
and USC
they just don't have anybody.
Lincoln Riley can't develop wide receivers. They don't even try to hide it.
Yeah, so this is their schedule. So. This is their schedule right now. It's not even really that bad. LSU week 1.
It's pretty.
Towards the end,
reading, but go on.
Towards the end, it gets bad. LSU week 1, Utah State at Michigan, Wisco at Minnesota. We're starting to get cold weather games, by the way. Penn State, don't have to worry about a whiteout game though. If they went into to be at Penn State during a whiteout game and they won and Miller won,
certified. But this is the thing about Penn State. This is just bad on their AT. Their whiteout games now, it's like it should be night game, but because Fox big noon's their slot, the whiteout game's at noon. It's just not the same anymore.
The prime time game. Like
I know. NBC needs to be doing the whiteout game because they do the night slot, but
Penn State, Maryland,
their whiteout game's kind of reduced.
Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, and Notre Dame. So there's definitely a mix. There's a mix of easier teams and hard teams. The difference is going to be
that's a rolled schedule, though.
How good USC can match up at least versus those bad teams.
Like, this is what I'm saying. They're so lucky they don't play Iowa this year. They're so lucky they don't have November like true Big Ten road games. But my God, like, they're also so lucky their big travel game is like Maryland. That's like their cross country flight, and they're gonna smoke Maryland. So like that one, they don't need to worry about. Like Minnesota can be tricky. That one can be.
It's gonna be cold in October.
I mean, the Michigan game week 4. Oh my God, they're gonna get bludgeoned. Bludgeoned. Like USC, the lack of transfer portal moves they made on the defensive line and offensive line.
Yeah, Donovan Edwards is gonna bludgeon them.
Like, I don't even know who the Michigan starter is. I hope it's my guy, Davis Warren. We'll see who ends up winning that job. But it's just like, bro, like Davis would carve up USC's defense right now. Like it would be disgusting what would happen to them. I'm just saying, like right now, just quickly reading the schedule: LSU, USC. Okay, 0-1. They're probably starting the year off 1-2. Wisconsin, if they start off 1-2, that one's tough. I'm not sure if they're gonna rebound back after that. The season may be over by week 5. They could be 1-3 by week 5. We'll see. Well, I mean,
the bigger thing is they just need to at least make a bowl game. They need to make a bowl game,
which is gonna be tough.
Like I think that they can pick up. I think they can pick up Utah State. They can pick up Minnesota.
Yes. The guaranteed wins. How about we'll do that?
Utah pick up State, Maryland.
Guaranteed. Maryland guaranteed. Rutgers guaranteed. Nebraska guaranteed. Okay, that's 4.
5. And among these other games where it's borderline, Utah State, Minnesota.
I'm not counting Minnesota in there.
Oh, okay. So 4. 4. So among these
other that, though.
Among the other games, whatever. They'll have to pick one up versus a UCLA, versus a Washington, versus a Wisconsin. They're probably going to lose to LSU, probably going to lose to Notre Dame, probably going to lose to Michigan, probably going to lose to Penn State. So
I'm saying they're definitely losing to Penn State and Michigan. There's 0% chance they beat them.
So it's also difficult because those games are going to be mostly away. One of the games they need to pick up is they're mostly going to be an away game. The biggest thing, though, is going to be that last week.
They get lucky with Notre Dame at home. Super lucky.
It's going to be that last week versus Notre Dame, regardless if it's at home or not. That is a statement game for Miller Moss going into the draft.
Yeah, and I will just say Miller, he is a lifelong USC fan. Like, he genuinely hates Notre Dame, and I love it. Like, he plays with passion. Like, he will play for USC. But, yeah, it's super tough. This is such a tough schedule. Like, if there is one guy I know that could get through it, though, it is Miller. So we'll see what ends up happening. I don't know how the defense is going to help him out, but we'll see. And unfortunately for him, like, wins are how people track this shit.
Unfortunately, but it's not as big of a deal with actual NFL scouts. Clearly.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. He'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see him even staying another year.
No, definitely. Yeah. You have Lincoln Riley. If you have the job on lockdown, yeah. But if he does well enough, like yes, you go. And there's a chance.
I'm more so just looking at that schedule. It'll be tough. Like Miller's not gone to the Big Ten.
If he does well, this is the schedule to do well with, because you're going to be a surprise.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, I guess the other little college football news I had, we have the cover athletes, but I just want to go over one little number I found. It is the ranked records of all Power 5 college football teams since 2014 over the past decade. There are 10 teams who are over 500 against ranked opponents over the past decade. Everett, I kind of want you to have a general guess of who could be in that top 10. Now, you know the first 2 teams. I told you that. Alabama and Ohio State, 1 and 2. Alabama with an 80.6% win rate against ranked opponents over the past decade. Ohio State with a 76.6% win rate over the past decade against ranked opponents. I want you to guess number 3. And I want you to, we talked about
third best win rate.
Win rate. And all of these teams have like over 20 to 30 wins against ranked opponents anyway. So it's not like a BS. You played 5 ranked games.
So you said Bama, Ohio State.
Bama's 1, Ohio State is 2.
LSU?
No, they're down that list. Number 3 is the Clemson Tigers, 72.09% win rate. Number 4, I think you can get this one.
Hold on.
Big school, big name brand right now.
Michigan.
Oh. No, they are under 500 against ranked opponents the last 10 years. You remember the start of Harbaugh? I know you don't. Yeah, no, they're fucking not. No. Number 4 is Georgia, the Bulldogs.
Okay.
That one makes a lot of sense.
I feel like 5, Ole Miss is around there too. Why do I get a feeling Ole Miss is on the list somewhere?
Hell no. They might. I doubt they have double-digit ranked wins in the past 10 years.
Interesting.
I doubt it. Maybe. I
doubt it. Okay. Number 5.
Yeah. I know you will not get number 6, but number 5.
So helpful. Penn State.
No, hell no.
I'm just going off of bigger names. I'm thinking of
5 is Oklahoma. That's a Lincoln Riley stat right there. Number 5 is Oklahoma. Number 6 is Oklahoma State. Shout out Mike Gundy. Shout out Mike Gundy.
Really?
I was looking at that though, and in my opinion, that's because the Big 12, for some reason over the past decade, just gets ranked teams. They'll just rank Baylor 23rd and shit. They'll just rank Kansas State like 19th and shit. Like
the TCU will just randomly get ranked.
So TCU is 9th on this list.
Really? Yeah.
They're one of 10 teams that have a over 500 win percentage against ranked teams. And I'm saying the only reason that happens is because they're in the Big 12, and the Big 12 just gets ranked teams. It's like, what the hell are we doing? Next up after Oklahoma State,
FSU.
Finally LSU.
LSU is FSU on the list. Really?
Bad stretch.
Really?
Bad stretch.
Oh, I guess this is only the last 10 years, right? Like I'm kind of thinking in like the last like decade, like over a decade, I guess.
10 years, decade.
I said over. I'm saying I'm thinking over a decade. Like I'm thinking Jameis Winston years. I'm thinking like
that's the cutoff. Jameis was like the very
like
next, we got Washington at 8, TCU 9, Oregon at 10. The only Power 5 team who does not have a win over a ranked opponent in the past decade is, you guessed it, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. The only team who does not have a win against a ranked opponent. But I would say, looking at this, and the win percentages, okay, there's only 5 schools over 60%. There's only 3 schools over 70%, and Ohio State's one of those. I got to slow my roll, okay? Things can be worse. I could be an Oklahoma fan right now. I could be an Oklahoma State fan right now, which wouldn't even count in this category. But I could be fans of those other programs, but I'm not. So at the end of the day, it's not all rainbows and dandelions, but it's pretty close as an Ohio State fan, pretty close to it. But yeah, I just want to bring that up. That was kind of interesting to me. Cover athletes, if we want to go over that, or
we can quickly.
Do we want to go over that quick little? We'll do the team equivalent list. That's more fun. Yeah. So there's a post going around, relatively viral, just comparing NBA, NFL, MLB team equivalents, win percentage, regular season win percentage over the past decade. The biggest thing that shocks me when looking at this, the first thing I noticed, just as an LA sports fan, was the Lakers are 23rd, and they are the equivalent of the Pittsburgh Pirates and Atlanta Falcons when it comes to these 3 sports. That is mind-boggling to me, that the Los Angeles Lakers are the equivalent of the Atlanta Falcons when it comes to just comparing the teams. But also the other startling thing, Everett, is that the Los Angeles Clippers are 3rd on this list, and they are, quote, the Yankees and Steelers of the NBA. That one's interesting to me. That one is something. Also, the Cleveland Guardians have the 4th best record.
That does kind of add up. They had a really good stretch in the AL Central for a long time. They were kind of the dominant team.
That just still blows my mind to even fathom right there, seeing that and reading it. I will say though, Everett, how does it feel that the Vikings are the Cavs and the Blue Jays? That's not the worst crowd to be lumped in with. I think it's actually a pretty solid crowd to be lumped in with there. I know you have other things to look at, I'll divert it to a new question. How about this? The Chargers are the Rangers and the Suns. Hopefully we're more so the Rangers than the Suns, and maybe we can get a Super Bowl win. That's never going to happen. But at least for, the Suns made it to an NBA Finals. The Rangers just won one. That's not the worst teams I could be lumped in with. I would say arguably the most disappointing stretch of 3 in all of these is probably number 27. The Rockies, Hornets, and Commanders. Oh, yeah. Rockets, Hornets, Rockies, Hornets, Commanders. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. They are all the same franchise. That one completely adds up.
That one. Can you tell me where the Coyotes are in here? I need to know what teams are like the Coyotes.
Ooh, they don't have NHL on this list.
Damn it.
Don't have NHL. Yeah. So that one's missing. Sorry, I'm getting spammed right now. Okay, back to locking. Back to locking in. These people don't know we're recording right now. But anyway, okay. On to the NBA. Last thing, Everett, I'm sorry, you need to address these allegations right now.
Yeah, no, I gotta micromanage some things going on right now.
So this is
okay.
I just want to preface this by saying I am not disrespecting Anthony Edwards at all here. I feel awful for him because my God. And you know what? When you were bringing up earlier that this might be like the 2009 Lakers, you might have a bigger point than what you initially thought of beforehand. This might really be the 09 Lakers. It is really just Ant out there. I will just say, looking just kind of at how this game went, Karl Anthony-Towns went 5 for 18 with 13 points. I don't know what it is, Everett, but Karl Anthony-Towns might be the least intimidating big man in the NBA when it comes to low post threat. Now, I know he likes to go outside. He likes to shoot. He likes to be that stretch four, but you are 7 foot. At some point, you can't let Aaron Gordon be clamping you in the paint and afraid to shoot inside the paint. He is just scared to shoot when he's in the paint, despite being 7 feet. Cat, I are more so now back to Amp. I just feel bad for him. He doesn't have another alpha scorer on his team the way Ant is. If he gets the ball, that's the he thing, don't care who's guarding him. He's scoring.
The Wolves are a defensively built team. Jaden McDaniels is a defensive guy. Rudy Gobert is a defensive guy.
True.
Right? Mike Conley is a mix of both. He's more of a veteran guy, but a little bit of a mix of both.
He's a locker room presence.
Locker room guy, right?
That's and Mike Conley's Ohio State. I will always rep.
Cat, it's a little bit of both, but Cat's going to be that number 2 option. Cat's the number 2, and Conley's probably the number 3 for scoring. Ant's the number 1. And, I think that to say that Cat is not a dominant scorer is not necessarily fair because he is.
He's afraid to shoot the ball in the paint, Everett. He's afraid.
Yeah, he predominantly shoots out from the perimeter or kind of inside. He doesn't really play in the paint as much as you would expect him to, but that doesn't mean he's not a good scorer.
No, I think that does, like, his game is limited. Like Cat, I need more dog out of him. He just has never had that dog in him. Like Anthony Edwards, dog. If he gets the ball, he is doing the classic Kobe. Out the way, everybody. Everybody go stand in the corner. It's Ant time. It's time for the Ant-Man to show up. Cat doesn't quite have that killer mentality. And I don't exactly know what the solution is here because overall, like, Cat, they wanted to bring Gobert in because Cat did not want to play center. He wanted to play the 4. Like, that's why they brought in Gobert, and it's working to a degree. Look at where they were up 2-0 against the Nuggets. Like, that formula can work. I just think that this team with Jay McDaniels now being the 3, the offensive weapons are just not quite there. Like, I think this roster could be better constructed if McDaniels played the 4, Cat, get out of town, find a new 3 that's an alpha. Now, that's easier said than done.
I don't really know if that's going to happen because of the way that their team runs. The other thing you got to remember, the Wolves did just lose 2 games. At the same time, though, it wasn't because of Cat. There's multiple different reasons why the Wolves lost. And, one of them is, Cat had some issues, but Rudy Gobert had some issues. Ant had some issues in one of the games. There's a lot of different things. And to purely try and be like, hey, this is why they suck or whatever, this is why they're losing, isn't fair. And that's like you're disregarding the last 6 games that they had played before then where they were undefeated during that span. And a large part of that was because
more
of
so you look at
Cat.
Those 6 games they win, and Cat is getting his. I believe shot 54% from 3. So, well, that's what I'm saying. When he doesn't show up, L.
But that's not going to change. That's not going to change.
You can't be wasting a 45 point performance.
That's not going to change if you go and get another guy, because if you go and get another guy and you get rid of Cat, you're changing the way your defense is going to play. You're changing the way that your offense is going to play. You're getting a new team at that point.
Well, I think it could be better. I think they have a higher potential. Like I think Anthony Edwards
Unless
is
you want to
being
go
done
get
dirty by
Jokic, I don't really
Cat.
know what other big guy you're going to be
No,
able to
that's
get
not an
that's going to be
option.
able to shoot from three, who's going to be able to be pretty decent on defense and still be able to be another option
Well, I'd say there's a lot of guys in the NBA who
that
fit
are
that exact
a
mold,
big
that 3
man.
and D. Jane McDaniels, or yeah,
Aiden
Jane
McDaniels is
McDaniels could
on
be a
their team
4.
already.
He could
He's
be your
already
4.
he's our three right now. You don't want to move him.
No,
He
no,
moves
yeah,
from
yeah, you
three
do.
and
He's
four.
would be better at a 4. I
I
think this
don't know
roster would be
about
better
that.
constructed. Yeah, dude, he mismatches everybody. Jay McDaniels, I'm going to give
He
a
could be
shit
in
ton
any
of credit to.
position.
No,
Any
I'm going to
position.
give. He's so versatile, but I think he's being wasted at the 3 because he doesn't provide that offensive threat. That Cat playing 4 should be picking on Aaron Gordon. Should be eating him up for lunch. What the hell are we talking about? It's Aaron Gordon, Everett. The other week you were shitting on him, being like, he doesn't even start for the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon somehow went 11 for 12 with 27 points with Cat guarding him. Oh, God.
Like I said,
Aaron Gordon is playing with you as food now, Cat. Oh my God.
yeah, it's also one game though. Like Aaron Gordon really hadn't done all that much until that game.
Gonna pull it up real quick. I think the Aaron Gordon slander has gone a little too far here. I never thought I'd have to defend Dunkman. I never thought I'd have to defend him. Okay. Game 3. That T-Wolves lost by 27. Aaron Gordon went 5 for 7 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3, had 5 assists, 2 steals.
And look at the 2 games that they
points.
lost. Look at the 2 games that they lost.
But remember, Aaron Gordon, well, first game that they lost, Aaron Gordon did not necessarily play great. 4 for 6 from the field. The second game they lost, though, he went 8 for 14, 3 for 5 from 3. But he's not their third option. Aaron Gordon's like the 5th option on that team. If he's ever putting up 27, oh shit. Michael Porter Jr. is above
probably
him.
the
Jamal
fourth.
Murray's 2.
He's the 4th option. Jamal Murray's 2, Michael Porter's 3, then Aaron Gordon is 4.
Yeah, but he's giving you 27 points as your 4th option. The T-Wolves don't have a guy as a 4th option that could do that. Jay McDaniels isn't doing that. Rudy Gobert does not have an offensive presence.
I mean, Nas Reed wouldn't drop 27.
27 points.
But how often is Aaron Gordon dropping 27 points?
Well, I'm just saying this is
what's his average? What's his average? Because if that's what you're asking for an average, Aaron Gordon doesn't fucking average.
No, I'm not talking. I'm talking pop off potential here.
Okay, then look at the games the Wolves. Look at the games that the Wolves have won and see who's scoring for them. Because there's more than 2 players scoring for the Wolves when they win those games.
Well, also the 2 recent wins that the Wolves had, they were only scoring like 100 points. It was the defense that showed up. The defense. And
part of that defense
after game 2, I was really under the impression that, like, you're saying the defense is Cat?
No, I said and Cat is a part of that defense.
I would go so far to say he's the liability on defense there. Everyone else, I feel uber confident in their matchup.
Rudy Gobert was accordingly the bigger defensive liability these last 2 games than Cat. Or at least last game, he was the bigger defensive liability. Cat was probably.
But he's the decoy. He's the best defensive player in the league, right?
Defensive players of the year can always have a bad game. Like, it doesn't. Are you telling me that Dennis Rodman never had one bad game in his career when he was in the playoffs or something like that? Because I know that'd be horseshit.
I'm not saying that.
So you can be a decoy and have bad games. It's possible.
Yeah, I think that is quite interesting, though. I still think it's unbelievable Rudy Gobert won decoy over Wemby, but hey, that's okay because pretty much after this season, I think Wembanyama is going to be the decoy for like a decade straight.
Like, look at the game. Okay, look at the game where the Wolves scored 106. Both Cat and Ant dropped 27. They don't need to do much else, but they have Nickeil Alexander-Walker dropping 14 and Nas Reed dropping 14.
I'm talking give you 30. Like MPJ can give you 30. Aaron Gordon give you 30 now.
Yeah, but if they get 30, one of the other guys is probably not getting 30.
True, but this is what I'm getting at.
But then the whole point is BS. The whole point is BS then.
Well, okay, this is what I'm saying. T-Wolves, they got 2 guys that you can, quote, take over a game, end it on their own. Okay? we can lump Cat in there too, but not really. It's just up to Ant, and I feel bad for him.
I mean, in the games that the Wolves have won, it's been fully just Jokic. If you looked at Jamal Murray's scoring in those 2 games that the Wolves won, it's pitiful. So,
oh yeah, 100%. Game
you
2 was hilarious.
If you're gonna give the criticisms, if you're gonna
hilarious.
give criticisms to the Wolves, then give criticisms to the other teams too, because that's horseshit.
No, I know. I'm just
But
saying.
you're not doing that. That's
Nuggets,
what I'm saying. That's
the Nuggets over there. They don't need Jamal Murray to give you 30 to win. The T-Wolves kind of need Cat to give you 30 to win. Kind of.
Not
I'm just
really,
saying
not
there's
really
more
at
ways
all,
for the
actually.
Nuggets to win.
That's just not true at all. Cat hasn't dropped 30 in a majority, if any, of these games that the Wolves have won. So that is the biggest load of shit that I've heard you put out with all this.
All right, Everett. I'm just saying that the Suns team's a little different.
I'm saying that I'm just, even if the Suns are different, it's still talking about the 2 other games that they played versus Denver in Denver. And I know that it's recency biases because they've lost the last 2 games too, but you can't be like, fucking 2 games ago, you wouldn't have been saying this stuff at all. Like,
oh yeah, no.
So it's recency bias. Like, that's horse shit. If you're gonna say it about the Wolves, say it about the Nuggets. Don't be fucking one-sided.
I'm just simply saying the Nuggets got 4 guys that can just take over.
Yes, but the way that you're insinuating
the T-Wolves got 2.
The way that you're insinuating is all 4 guys take over the same game. All 4 of them drop 30 points for them to win.
No. I'm saying they have more ways to win.
Yeah, that's
they have a better
fair.
roster that could bail them out if the star has an off night.
But the way
I'm just looking at game 1,
the rosters are constructed differently in a way where the Nuggets might be built to be offensively built like that, where they have people that come up and play offensively. The Wolves are built to do the same thing, but the opposite, where they're built to come on and be defensive. It's not always like the whole thing that you said this point
earlier. Cut out, say it again.
I said while the Nuggets are built to do that offensively, coming off the bench, they might have people or just multiple people who can do something offensively. The Wolves are built the opposite way. They have people that do everything defensively. So it's a pick of your poison whether or not you want something offensive versus defensive. The way that the Wolves are built are to be a defensive team, not an offensive team. That doesn't mean they don't have players that can't score. They do have players that can score. It might not be every single one of them averages 30 points, which, by the way, is absurd, but they have players that can still score. It's just the fact of the matter is they pride themselves on being defensive.
Okay. I'd say, okay, sure, we could go. I'm okay. Mike Conley, Jay McDaniels, and Gobert over there. Any 3 of those guys, they had the ball in the 4th quarter, do you trust them to score?
Mike Conley, I would.
That's my guy too, but come on.
Mike Conley, I would. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have a focal point of the offense either way. The focal point of the Nuggets offense is Jokic. Like, if you're gonna be like, True. Hey, anybody on the Nuggets, hey, like, who do you want the ball to be in their hands? You'd be like, fucking Jokic, right? But that doesn't mean you don't trust the other players around them. Like, yeah, Michael Porter's a great player. Yeah, Jamal Murray's a great player, but that doesn't also mean that they're guaranteed to make those shots. You'd be expecting Jokic to make that shot. I'd be expecting Ant to make that shot. But that doesn't mean that Cat couldn't make a shot or Mike Conley couldn't make a shot.
Well, I'll be honest. After just watching this shit, if Michael Porter's left open.
Yeah, no, that's why they've had Jaden McDaniels trying to guard him for most of the series.
Which I just feel like it's a slight waste there. I feel like Jaden McDaniels is actually so good at defense.
But if you're saying
Cat just is sitting there getting picked on by Aaron Gordon.
But then you put, if you're saying the Cat is such a defensive liability, if you decide to put Cat on Michael Porter and then deal with Aaron Gordon with Jaden McDaniels, you're gonna have the same fucking problem. If that's the way that you're
because
saying.
There's such a mismatch with Michael Porter and Cat. Jaden McDaniels, zero concern him guarding either.
But there's not 5 Jaden McDaniels going around. And also, that doesn't mean Cat doesn't make things up the other way. And I'm not saying that Cat has been the best player of the series by any stretch, nor am I saying that he has been a great player for the series, but it doesn't mean that he's not good.
No, I'm not here to disrespect Jamie Daniels.
I'm talking about Cat. I was talking about Cat.
Yes, Cat. I am disrespecting him. Like Jay McDaniels there to play defense. Pretty sure he was all NBA defense this year. Like if you're getting a guy who can give you those minutes, then I don't care what you do on offense because there's only one basketball on offense, and Anthony Edwards is gonna be holding the ball most of the time. So I'm totally cool with my 4 being a defensive only major mismatch on defense and just sit in the corner on offense. Totally cool with that. But I'm saying for that starting 5, Conley, big man Gobert, I always forget his name. Gobert and Jay McDaniels, them 3, you expect great defense out of them, but you know they're not going to give you much. You're not expecting much on offense out of them. You aren't. Cat, you kind of need him to be showing up on offense a lot for them to win these series. You kind of need that because if Cat just goes up there and puts up a stinker, Ant might have to drop 70 to win the game, Everett. That's where I'm getting at here. It's just because Jay McDaniels, Gobert, and Mike Conley aren't really big offensive threats you would rely on at all. That other option, Cat, he needs to be stepping it up.
I don't know.
And I'm saying this for Anthony Edwards because we need an American to be the face of the NBA. Everett. Remember, it all comes back to this. We need Anthony Edwards to succeed. Okay, that's what this all comes down to. And I don't think Cat is the Robin to his Batman.
Look, if you want to say that, sure, but I do also think you're just completely underestimating the actual role that Cat plays in that offense and that defense. More so the defense than the offense, because I don't think that if you sub them out, you're like, hey, let's put a true 4 in there and just not have the 2 big men. I don't know if their defense plays the same way.
It obviously changes things around, but if Gobert is quote depoy, you look at how other rosters are constructed with their big men, like Chet at center. Jalen Williams is the 4. He's 6'5". Okay, that's Chet's paint. All right, Chet, go defend that shit on your own. Victor Wembanyama, I have never seen anyone like him ever. Straight up, if he is in the paint and you're driving, point guards will literally pass up one-on-one layups any position because they are not letting fucking goddamn Wemby contest them one-on-one in the paint. He will block your ass. Like I've never seen that type of respect given to a player on defense in my life. Like if Gobert is that good down low, then you would be okay having a small 4 mismatches on offense. You're just sprinting around, running your Steph Curry elevator doors, getting them open on 3.
Part of the reason why I think you saw
picking on Aaron Gordon.
For him to be a 7-foot big, part of the reason why you dominating that matchup. You saw a defense where everybody was like, "Holy shit, this might be one of the better defenses we've seen in the past decade, maybe the past 20 years," was because of those other roles that you don't necessarily think exist like they do. But
I'm just looking at the way other rosters are constructed with a quote dominant interior defender playing center, and we're seeing the NBA now move to mismatch basketball. Like Aaron Gordon is just picking on Cat right now, despite the size. Like him being smaller than Cat helps him in this case because Cat is not a baller down low. They're allowed to play a smaller 4 because Cat will not just take over against a smaller mismatch.
All I'm saying is the whole season, the Nuggets and the Wolves have been split series wise. They both have had good games. They both have had bad games. And if any other team was this position, you probably wouldn't be picking on Cat as much. So the objective is he's playing against a team that has this many people, like that can score. That doesn't mean that he's not been playing good defense for most of the year.
I don't know. Karl Anthony-Towns, not exactly the name that pops on when I think insane defensive presence. Like Jay
I never
McDaniels
said that was the case.
I
never said that he is an insane defensive player. I am saying that I think he's playing a little bit better defense that you give credit for. Outside of a game or two, and obviously those games are a little bit more highlighted now because of how important they are. But that doesn't mean that he hasn't played good defense at some point.
I would say, overall, yes and no. And, I'm coming from my Lakers fandom here, where you have one bad game. I want you off the roster and sent to Guantanamo Bay because you're so ass. I'm looking at D'Lo. I'm looking at AD and shit like that. I will just say, but, playoffs, this is the time where you got to step up. And if you don't step up, you get shit on by the media. That's how the game's played, guys. That's how the game is played in the NBA. So I am preparing the Destroy Cat. I'm getting ready for it. It's not there yet. I'm getting ready for it though.
With that,
I've seen men get destroyed for playoff appearances when they're not that bad. But hey, this is how the game's played.
With that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, raise 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and on Instagram at Waterway Pod. We post new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and all podcast platforms. So make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode. You can follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett Stakes and at Waterway Grant. We post new TikToks and Instagram reels every week. So make sure you follow us there for exclusive content, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Waterboys out.